Hello, everybody, and welcome to Scanner Monkey TV. My name is Cordelia, and I'm going to be hosting this awesome show tonight called How to Private Label on Amazon. So tonight's show, I really wanted to interview some people who were either, I'm going to call them just regular everyday sellers. They're all successful in other areas as well as private label, but they're not like gurus. They're not like leading big programs. They're just in the trenches trying to do it for themselves and learning as they go. So I do have my own private label brand. I'm probably not going to be talking that much about it tonight unless there's a question, but I do have that experience. And then we also have our 5 amazing guests, Jaya, Harvey, Danilio, Barbara, and Karen, who will be joining us one at a time tonight. So we're going to have people pop on one at a time. We've got 10 questions we're going to go through each of them. And all these people are members of our group, Scanner Monkey. If you want to join, or if you're already a member, you can reach out to them and PM them if you have questions. So let me just take a second and tell you a little bit about Scanner Monkey. Scanner Monkey is who's producing this show. We are a trade organization, sort of like the Chamber of Commerce for online sellers. So we help people connect. We have an amazing Facebook group. We also have live events all over the country. We also have discounts. So we don't do affiliate marketing to our members. We simply pass savings on to them. So for example, we did a feature of some of our discounts this week. Now these are available all the time, but we have 6 different repricers that we have really chunky discounts on. So a lot of people actually pay for their membership with just 1 or 2 discounts. There was a conference last week, the Scan Power conference. We had a $100 off coupon. We have got so we've got amazing deals. And we have a drama-free environment. Our members tell us they like that they get a really good level of expertise in the group. There's all different kinds of sellers. So whenever you have a question, there's somebody there who can answer it. So anyway, that's Scanner Monkey. It's $20 a month to join, and you can do that at scannermonkey.com. And that is enough about our group. We do this show every week. The replays are mostly available for members, although we do keep a good chunk of them on our YouTube channel as well. So you can check us out at youtube.com/ScannerMonkeyTV. Okay, let me go ahead and bring on our first guest. We had a little rearranging due to some technical challenges. So we're going to bring on Harvey Kaplan. Harvey. All right, there we go. Ooh. How are you?
I got a haircut just for the webinar. Just want to the hippie look.
You look very handsome. Thank you for being our guest tonight.
Oh, thank you very much. Glad to be here.
So Harvey lives in the Atlanta area like I do, and so we actually met. Did we actually meet at Atlanta first, or did we meet at a conference and then realize that we both lived in Atlanta?
I think we met at Seller Labs last year. And we were in the same group, the same table.
That's right.
You know, I had the Scanner Monkey, name tag.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that was memorable.
Well, thank you for coming on tonight. So I'm going to dive right into the questions. So we already heard your name, but can you tell us a little bit about how long you've been selling and your selling history online?
About 2 years, exactly 2 years ago, I got off Amazon. In 1999, I founded autofinder.com, and I've been using that site for many years to create income for myself. I also got into the domain name, the .com, frenzy back in the day where I was buying and selling, and I still own about 1,800 now. And
oh, wow.
I haven't bought any for 2 years because I got into physical products. So I kept on hearing about Amazon, and my friend got into it. He goes, "Oh man, you got to get into it. He's selling kitchen stuff." And I started, the learning curve, well, what's an FN SKU? What's an ASIN? Where do I put my stickers? What's a UPC code? So I kind of figured out, but I wanted to kind of gravitate towards auto. So I became very interested in looking at some auto accessories, and I know one of the questions you had for me is what was my first private label product, and that's the first private label product I had. Very lightweight. So that's you stick this in your cigarette lighter in your car, and it emits ozone. So if like I was smoking a cigarette and I blew it would like dissolve the smoke. It's cool, right? The only issue, and I did really good with this thing. I have my own brand on it. It's kind of hard to see. It's called Pure O.
Pure. Okay.
Pure O.
Oh, you.
But I mean, it's so light. You know what I mean? It was like, okay. And so I dove in with this one, and I did pretty good. Of course, I think I had a seller that came after me saying I was selling inauthentic, my own stuff, and I had to prove I was selling my own stuff. But it kind of ran its course, the product. But the thing I didn't like about it so much is some people loved it, and some people said, I can't tell if it works. And so I had like a 3.5 stars. And I was like, I think I've had enough of this product. I don't like having a product where I'm getting returns, I'm getting bad feedback. Didn't like it, right? So that was the first one. I spun it off into seat cushions after that, a lumbar cushion for a car, a seat cushion for a car. And they really did pretty good, but I saw the market becoming flooded with those things, and the size was oversized. So I think I just sold out my last seat cushion, and I'm down to my last two, but I hate seeing them come back. Like the returns, these big seat cushions coming to my door from UPS, I'm looking at them going, well, these are a lot easier to deal with. I just toss them or give them to my friends. So I got into pillows. I think you saw that the post I put in there later. Someone put a bird in my ear. Hey, pillows are really good to get into. So I analyzed the whole thing, and I found a USA manufacturer that was selling pillows that I could buy, and I was competing with the USA guys because there's either cheap China pillow or a quality good pillow, right? So I think I ordered. How much
cost? Can you tell us the cost of your US pillow?
$15.
Oh, that's high. So where are you selling them for?
$49 for a queen, $59 for a king. So
okay, so they're pillows. Oh, cool. Okay.
So I kind of looked at the top guy. I saw what he was doing. I saw the pillow he had. I actually was buying from the same people they're making from him. Put my own brand on it, right? In the beginning, I just used a generic bamboo pillow thing, and the product took off. It was just amazing. I think when you first launch a product, Amazon gives you some extra sauce. If they do something to where you, for some reason, get instant visibility, instant sales. I had, of course, I gave away the reviews. I had given away pillows for the reviews to start it out, but I was spending $500 a day on PPC, but I was making $5,000 a day in sales. I was selling 80 to 100 pillows a day. So this I was selling a lot of pillows. So the thing that, I see in this list of questions you have is where did you go wrong? And
yes, one mistake.
One mistake. So people were hopping on my listing. I was thinking to myself, I need to really brand this thing. So I put my beautiful brand called Home Magic on the fabric. And the vendor said, hey, if you want your own brand name, you have to order 4,000 pillows. I thought, wow, I'm selling 100 pillows a day. That's no big deal, right? Well, I signed a very, very big check for 4,000 pillows. It took too much for him to make them. The fabric was late, By the time those pillows hit FBA, the product just died. It just completely died. I mean, I wasn't really too much out of stock issues, but I was getting the same amount of clicks as I had before. My pay-per-click was exactly the same. It just died. And so I thought I would do a relaunch. I relaunched it. I could never get the momentum back. It just never happened. I lowered the price, made a little more sales, but for some reason it had run its course. But, cutting that amount of money out of what I had in my bank account, I mean, I could still feel that, the impact of that. And then after that, I joined ACE, Sam Cohen's group. and Sam Cohen taught me about RA, kind of foreign concept. I kind of liked it. I still do it.
So you started with private label and then
Yeah.
you tried art. Yeah.
But I wanted to do both to have like a balance. You know what I mean? I still do RA, but selectively, like I'll only go for the good stuff whenever they have a big sale. I'm a big shoe guy, or I used to be. I'm getting a little bit more into it again, just Nike pretty much. But I've got some really good ideas for stuff that's coming right now from China that's auto accessories, and I'm doing the sunglass line. So I'll have the sunglass line is going to be off Amazon, Shopify, advertising on Google, separate entity, because you can't command the money I want to get for these sunglasses. The margins would not be there on Amazon.
Okay.
So whenever people go out there and they look for products to sell, they always go to Amazon and they say, how does it do on Amazon? That's not always going to be the way it's going to work. Again, someone told me about a sunglass company and what they were doing and the money they were making and the sales they were making. I looked at their glasses. I said, I can get those. So that's a separate thing. But I've got some other private label stuff coming in the auto field, which I think is going to be standalone, excellent product where I can take it and I can run it on a website, click funnel it, Facebook ads, and sell on Amazon. So it'll be like Amazon is just one part of what I want to do. You know,
so it sounds like you have really developed a system for yourself about how to do your own product launch.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, but
yeah.
I think if people read that post I put in the forum, it takes a lot of work to get to. If you see a top selling product, there's like a couple of guys that are dominating the listings, and you notice that there's other people selling the same thing or two of the same things for less, and they're not getting traction, and you're seeing their sponsored ads, you're going, well, what am I going to do to beat these guys? If I really want to sell this product, you're going to have to do outside advertising. You're going to have to cheat, not a lot for the clicks. Spend 5 cents, spend 10 cents on Google, PLA, which stands for product listing ads. They show up in the shopping feed. When you go to Google Shopping, or you go to Google and you're shopping for a product, click on shopping, you want your product to be seen in there, right? And everything, when they click on that, they either go to your Shopify site or they go to your Amazon listing. So you don't have to have a shop.
The other thing I thought was interesting that we heard at the conference last week is that if you're doing off Amazon advertising, that it's not a good idea to send people straight to your Amazon ad because they're likely to be just browsers. And so it's good to send them, if you don't have a Shopify site, you can send them to essentially a lead page, like a page that's on a website.
A click funnel, like a click funnel. Yeah.
Convince them to buy. And then once they are ready to buy, then you send them to your Amazon listing.
That's a qualification. You're qualifying that client. And then if you don't want to fulfill it yourself, you put the button like on autofinder.com. If you go to the e-store, it needs some work. I have one of my lumbar cushions on there. So people go to that one. They see the product. If they want to buy on Amazon, click. Goes to Amazon from AutoFinder. But yeah, that's the way to do it.
All right, Harvey, thank you so much. I could probably talk to you for the whole hour. Harvey Kaplan is a member of Scanner Monkey, and he's also a member of the Atlanta Online Sellers Group. If you want to reach out to him afterwards, or feel free to PM me, and I will put you in touch with him. So thank you so much, Harvey. It was great to hear your story.
Anytime, guys.
Bye.
Ciao.
All right, let's see if I can get our next guest on. We have got Jaya Patel is on next. And we're going to go ahead and hopefully, we got her video going a minute ago. Hey, Jaya.
Hi, Cordelia. Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear and see you. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming on. You and I think I actually got up like at the same time as you did this morning.
Oh, nice. Well, you know what? I overslept. I didn't get up till 5:45 today. So,
you're
me.
full. Jaya, one of her productivity tips that she has for her life is she gets up really early in the morning and gets work done before the day even starts. So it's a really good idea.
Yeah, it's awesome. So listen, I'm going to get started. Is that cool?
Tell
Okay,
us
put
your
me on a 10-minute timer.
Okay. Boo, I just buzzed you. Bzz, that wasn't a very good buzz. Sorry.
All right, awesome. So
Selling.
I've been selling for almost 4 years, and 3 of those years were RA. And the last year I've gotten into wholesale, and we're talking about private label. So I started thinking about private label about a year ago. And I took this course, superheroes, marketplace superheroes. I took this private label course, loved it. But I just had this mental block about private label. And these guys, Robert, Ricky, and Steven, I don't get anything out of promoting this course, but he's my coach now, so I love him. So I just want to give him a shout out on that one. But I reached out to him and I said, listen, I need one-on-one coaching. If your fees are affordable, can you coach me? And he agreed. And it's been the best investment so far ever, because I've probably prevented thousands of dollars worth of mistakes, and I've also been able to use a lot of his resources and, like shipping, just his shipping contacts and things like that. So anyway, I've got my products. There are 4 products live right now, and they've been live for 2 months.
Okay.
But
I just said, okay.
Yeah, so they've been live 2 months, but it takes a lot of work up front to get going, as Harvey mentioned. So, but once you put in that work up front, then when the ball gets rolling, it gets rolling. So that's what's happened with me. Out of those 4 products, 1 is just a home run. It started selling the first week, 5 to 6 units a day. I'm up to about 12 units a day on that one. 2 of those products, I had packaging issues, and I'm working through those. And 1 of those products is just A-okay. It's about 2 to 3 units a day. So, so that's been my journey so far. And, I just have some tips for people who are thinking about private label or.
Can you tell us a little bit about your order quantities on your products and what your investment was versus your return per unit?
Yeah. So. That's exactly what I was going to talk about. So, one thing is the process that Robert has taught me has really worked is you start with a good market research. You don't want to go into the obvious things. You don't want to go into an oversaturated market. Do strong keyword research and see if that product makes sense for you. Then you get on Alibaba, you contact the suppliers, and when you contact the suppliers, they get back to you with the price and MOQ. And that's minimum order quantity. And the thing is, don't negotiate on the price, negotiate on the MOQ. Like, that's the big things. Don't nickel and dime them on the price. In fact, let's just say they give you a price of $3 and give you an MOQ of $2,000. Ask them, hey, listen, this is a test order. We need to test this product first. We cannot do 2,000. Can you do 500 units? They may say yes or no, and you just try to negotiate on that MOQ. That was a life changer for me. Get the data that this product is going to work for you. So don't commit to a big MOQ. Get that data, get it into the market, and if it works, then go for that higher MOQ. So that was really really big. So that's my tip. So negotiate on the MOQ, do a strong market research before you get started, and then you've got to have the basic understanding of your shipping terms. Unfortunately, you have to know that. I know a lot of private laborers are still doing air shipments, but it does cost a lot of money. So if you can understand how sea shipments work, and now I'm trying this site called flexport.com. And they're pretty good. They're very informative in terms of getting you a quote for your shipments. And so I've liked them, and I've used some other ones too. But you get to know your shipping terms. That's important. And also one thing is really important, work on your packaging. So I've learned all about box thickness, and I've gone on to Fiverr and gotten the right drawings. And so I've learned about packaging. And so that's really important to work on that. And when your shipment is on the way, ask them to send you 2 finished products right to you, express it to you, so that while your shipment's in transit, especially if you're doing shipment. You can work on photography. You can go ahead and create your listing. You can get all of that done. Get your keyword research in so that you hit sponsored ads and all of that. And the other thing that's really worked for me is I don't do giveaways. I don't do heavy coupon, no 80% off or anything. If you do your keyword research correctly, and you hit that in the sponsored ad, create an exact phrase and broad search on the same keywords, get the data to see what keywords are working and what type of advertising is working. If you do that, then, and you've done the right market research and you have the right demand, the right price and all of that, then your product's gonna start selling, you know? So that was really good.
That's it, huh?
What's that?
That's it, huh? No.
It is, I swear, you know, like I said, it took me 10 months to get the ball rolling. And my products have only been live like barely 2 months. I want to say 6 to 8 weeks. And so there's a lot of work that goes up front. And so you have to be patient with it. You know, when I hear people putting a product out in 30 to 60 days, well, I don't know. That wasn't me. It didn't happen for me. That's my alarm going off. Saying my 10 minutes are up.
We have 3 minutes left on my clock.
Okay,
so
cool.
I think that this is a really important private label lesson, is the front end time and the whole turnaround time. And the more front end time you put in, the more you really understand the process, the less mistakes you make as you go that can be very costly, both in time and money.
Yeah.
It's not the same mentality as arbitrage. Like, and I know when I went into private label, I went in to private label with an arbitrage mentality, and I've paid for it in my launch taking forever, and I had a ton of problems. So I think if I had really taken an analytical approach like you did, I probably would have not had those issues. So I think that's a great thing. And I love how you went out, and this is something I've seen you do over and over again, is when you're ready to take on a new thing, like whether it's wholesale or private label, you laser focus your learning and make sure you master it. And I tend to get a little shiny object syndrome. So I think that's a really good note too. And all that stuff about the data and the analytics, those are all important factors. But if you're not really committed to learning and putting that time in on the front, you're not going to have the best results. So those are great points. So what was the mistake that you made that you wish you had done differently?
So the product number 2 and 3, they're very similar, and made a huge packaging mistake. Basically, it damages they showed me the box. I thought it looked fine on Skype when I was communicating with them. But when I got the product, the box was like basically paper. So it damaged the product when it shipped to the customer. So that was a mistake that I made. I actually now ask for the sample of the packaging too, not just the product. And so I can approve it up front. So that was a big learning lesson for me. And that was product 2 and 3.
Too. Get packaging as well as product samples. That's a great tip. Yes,
exactly. So that was really important.
What would you say was one of your big successes?
This home run product that is selling 12 to 20 units a day. And yeah, and I have my second order in, and it won't come in till June 20th. So I'm going to run out of stock. So I'm already experiencing that. But I did everything right on that product. So I went to photography. Productphotography.com is a good place to go to. They understand where, you know, how it works in terms of lifestyle photos and whatnot. So I use them. There's tons of, you know, Karen has some photography contacts as well. But get professional photography. That's a must. Like if you have a private label brand, you got to get professional photography. So.
Okay, great. And what are your future plans in private label?
All right, so my future plan is actually I'm working on an exit strategy on a 2-year plan. So I wanted to get away from arbitrage because I really don't feel that's a real business. I mean, to be honest. So when you have your own website, I have a Shopify website now. I have 2 accounts approved. One is private label account and one is wholesale account. So I'm strictly focused on wholesale and private label now. And so my goal is to have 10 live private label products by September. I have 2 in production right now. I have 3 or 4 I'm researching right now. So I'm on target to have 10 products by September.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Jaya, thank you so much.
Thanks, Cordelia. See you around. See you at the Atlanta Online. Yeah. Bye.
We got the Atlanta folks and we've got Danilio is ready to go. All right, let me see here. Hello, Danilio. Hold on, let me unmute you. Hi, how are you?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Excellent.
Perfect. I'm very good. Thank you. Thank you for having me, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming on.
Sorry for the little technical problems before. So I'm actually right now from my smartphone. I was able to connect from my computer, but we made it. So that's good.
Okay. You know what? That's part of any entrepreneur's life is just
You're right.
adapt.
You gotta figure it out. Yeah, always.
So now Danilio and I haven't met you yet, and I'm very pleased to meet you. Could you tell us a little bit about your selling history and your story?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started selling about a year ago, and my first product was in the beauty category, and it was a home run. I think I did
Now you had never sold online before, and then you just jumped into launching your own brand.
Yes.
Okay.
So basically, I come from the restaurant business. My class was YouTube, so I've been studying and watching all type of videos, following all type of people, all type of webinars. I mean, for 6-7 months, I've been studying a lot, and I was working in a restaurant. I come from a restaurant business, and I've been in the States just for 3 years. So I could just study at night or like my only day off. It was crazy, but I wanted to make a change in my life. I wanted to get my freedom back, and I wanted to spend more time with my family. That was my biggest motivation. And that's why I decided to, really get serious about this business. And yeah, I started studying a lot, and then I found this product. I think I did a very good research on the product, and came up with a brand name, private label it. I differentiate the product a little bit, and I actually want to touch base on this thing because it's one of the, let's call it, secrets today to be successful on Amazon a little bit easier when it comes to private label, because many sellers are selling the same product today, right? And it's a little bit more difficult than it was 3-4 years ago doing private label on Amazon. So if you just want to go out there and sell the same product that like 10 other sellers are selling at the same time, it's going to be much more difficult for you to make the customer buy your product. So what is the way you're going to make a customer click on your listing and buy your product? You need to add more value to the listing. You need to be different. How do you add more value? Well, definitely, literally add add-ons that are the physical extra, like the gift products that make sense with the experience of use of the main product, and they complete the experience of use again of the main product. So, for example, if I'm selling
it's a bundle, is what that is. So instead of selling one product, you're selling complementary products to make the customer's life easier. That's your goal with the bundle.
Right. Exactly. Because you can call it bundle, but it's always the main product. And the add-on, it comes after. Like it's something small that of course is cheaper than the main product, but it's gotta make sense. So it's gotta complete the experience of use of the main product. And that's the way you really make a difference. Because if 10 of you guys are selling the same product, and you come up, you sell the same product, but you give more value for the same price, or like even a little bit more, people are gonna start buying your product. So I did that with my first product. I added a little add-on, and I just crashed it. Like the fourth quarter was just crazy. My best day, I sold 265 units in one day. It was just amazing.
Wow.
And then that allowed me to scale the business faster, because I was able to profit like 2 weeks after I launched the product, and I spent around $2,000.
So you made profit after 2 weeks.
Yeah, I spent about $2,000 to buy my first private label product. I bought 500 units. Usually the sweet spot when you buy your first order, it is around 200 and 500 units. Don't go over that. It's enough to launch the product, do some promotion, and see how the market responds. And then you order more after that. What I struggled a little bit more at the beginning, and that was because the product was like crazy, was being stock. So I would run out of stock after like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then I would run out of stock again. And I would be out of stock for like 2 or 3 weeks. And there was, it wasn't that bad. I mean, it was bad because I was losing money. I mean, I was losing earnings. But at the same time, when I would come back in stock, since my listing was selling so good, I would get my BSR and my spot on the search pages right away. So it wasn't that bad.
Are you importing that from China, or where did you get that?
Yep, from China. Yep, definitely.
So actually being out of stock for only 2 to 3 weeks when you're importing from China is pretty good. Did you airship?
Always airship. Yeah, at the beginning,
okay.
That's the best way to go. When you first start doing private label, of course you save money when you do sea shipping, but unless you order a lot of units, okay, I am of the idea that it's not worth at the beginning waiting so much times, waiting so long for getting your product shipped, like 30, 45 days, because you need to get you need to get going. You need the ball rolling. You're still gonna make a great profit if you did your market research the right way. Of course, when you start selling, you get to the point that you need to get to the optimum level of inventory per month. I don't know, 200,000 units, and you know what is going to be next month, how many units you have to buy. You can start thinking about doing sea shipping, so you're going to save some money. But at the beginning, for me, it's all about being quick. So the problem is that 10 days for production, 15 days for production, and 3-5 days for shipping. That's it. I don't want to wait more than that.
Okay.
And then my second product, I did an actually different process. I designed in the same niche, in the same category, a brand new product. I designed it. I got a 3D design, and I bought a plastic injection mold from a company in China. And they actually, they made the product for me. They cost me 50 cents per unit, and then I did the packaging, the whole differentiation with the add-ons. $2,000, $2,200. And it's a little bit bigger investment in the beginning, but allows you to be unique. So nobody else is selling my same product. They are selling a similar product that does the same job, but they're not selling my product. Maybe in a couple of years they will come out with the same product, but I will have more. I will have established my market already. I launched this product actually 2 days ago, and I sold 8 units yesterday. So it was pretty good as a first day. Yeah, then I have another product selling very good. Another one that I made a mistake on that I didn't look. I look at the numbers at the beginning, but I spent too much for the single unit, and then the market price dropped. I differentiate myself, but there's almost no profit for me at that price. So I decided to ask the supplier to hold those units for like 2 or 3 months and use those money for other products, basically. And that's what I'm doing now. Yeah, that's pretty much it. What else you ask us in the questions?
What's one thing that you wish you'd known when you started that you know now?
A lot of things. At the beginning, yeah, if I could go back, I wish the fact that I was out of stock, it wasn't my fault. I gotta be honest with you. I was just like unpredictable the way I started. I started selling very well at the beginning, and I was just happy that I was running out of stock. It was bad because
sometimes it's just unavoidable, and if it's coming from another country, you can only get it so fast.
Right. You're right. So. And the other mistake that I made, as I told you, it was in the third product that I actually I negotiated with suppliers. Some prices were very good, but then on the packaging I spent too much money, and that brought me off road for the whole pricing. And
hold on. So it wasn't just that, keeping in mind the cost of not just the product but the packaging, because you kind of slipped on the packaging, and that's actually what Jaya earlier wasn't, is because it's so easy to get focused on the thing you're making but you've got to focus on how it's going to be sold, both for the Amazon customer, and some people get packaging so that if they want to sell it in brick and mortar, that it's actually shelf ready as well. So you need to think about all those things when you're designing your product.
Right, and I did that twice successfully. But for this one product, I just didn't realize that the packaging was so big. I mean, you know that was so big, but it was like a very thick carton. It was very heavy, and of course, it would increase the shipping price, right? So the packaging was $1.50, way too much for a box.
Yeah.
Plus the shipping increased a lot because the dimension and the weight of the box. So I didn't think about the shipping cost, and that was my mistake, basically. But you always learn from mistakes, and it's always there's something like that happens. But you always find. You said it.
So we have like such a quick show tonight with each person. So let me ask you, what was your big successes?
My first product and the third one that I'm selling right now, and I hope it will be also the second one that took longer to be launched, but I launched yesterday. So yeah.
So that's great. So his first product, you just jumped right in, and I love that you learned YouTube and just took your time to really get ready.
Yeah.
What are your future plans?
Finish building a product line around this one brand. Around 4 or 5 products total, and then jump into another category.
Okay, now are you still working at your restaurant, or are you now totally working Amazon?
I work one time a week, once a week, because the owner is a friend of mine, so I also enjoy going there. It's a pleasure for me. I help him out, and I relax a little bit.
So can you give us we have one question. How did you decide on your products?
It's all about the numbers. Never fall in love with a passion that you have or with a niche. Just follow the numbers. If the numbers are good, no matter what the product is, go ahead and sell it. Make sure they have enough sales per month combined between the first 10, 15 sellers. I would say between 3,000 and 5,000 sales per month combined. And if only you want to take like 10% of those sales, it is about 300-500 units per month, which is very good. And then if you differentiate yourself the right way, you're able to gain more market share. So numbers.
Okay. Great. Thank you so much, Danilio. Now, are you in Atlanta?
Yes.
So I look forward to meeting you soon in person.
Okay, we will.
Thank you for being our guest tonight. And
thanks for having me.
I look forward to talking to you again. Thank you, Danilio.
Thank you. Good night, guys. Thank you very much.
Bye. Okay, that was great. Now we're just zipping through the guests tonight. Let's get Barbara on here. Hello, Barbara. How are you?
Hi. Fine. How are you doing?
I feel like I'm speed dating tonight. Like,
yeah, really. I'm writing all these notes. I'm writing more notes. And I'm like, remember to do this. Remember to do that.
I really wanted to show a lot of different perspectives, but it's definitely a super quick show, a little different than our usual style. But thank you for being on, and thank you, Danilio and Jaya and Harvey, for coming on. We have got Barbara and then Karen, and we will be wrapping up. So Barbara, can you tell us a little bit about your history as a seller?
Yes. I actually am I always tell everybody I'm a corporate escapee, so corporate America escapee. And in order to do, and I probably have what a lot of people would relate to. I was working a full-time job, and I started by selling my kids' toys on eBay, and then I saw that I could do it on Amazon. It was so much easier on Amazon. And then I wanted to get away from some of the used stuff because it wasn't scaling, but I saw the potential. So then I started looking at doing RA, and I did that for a while. Then I found out that my job was going to be eliminated in 18 months. And I was like, oh, yes, will I get severance? But it was perfect timing. And I said, that's it. By then I had done the math. I was in corporate America. I was in finance. So math was pretty, budgeting and forecasting was pretty easy. So it's like, all right, if I do this much and this much, then I can make a living at this. At least let me try do the severance period because then I'll have some control over my life. I still work like crazy, but at least when I want to go do something with the family or something comes up that I want to do, it's my choice and my decision, and I don't hear you have to fly to, California tomorrow.
Right.
Right. For an acquisition.
What was,
but anyway,
tell us about your first dive into private label.
So I have been selling something, and I thought, well, I'd really like to make this my own. So it's actually, I have two good stories. They both have happy endings, but one is just so funny.
Were you arbitraging it or wholesaling it?
That was a bundle I had made, and it was with somebody else's brand. So I thought the thing I would do is make my own bundle on my own brand, and then I could get some scale and really, keep anybody. My whole thing once I left retail arbitrage was, look at the cats, a hairball. They hear that in the background. But the whole thing was just ring fencing everything I was doing.
We can't hear the cat and the hairball, but I know you can.
Yeah, there she goes.
Oh, now I can hear it. All right.
She's gonna sleep the entire time until I start talking. But anyway, so if I could ring fence everything, either I have a relevant bundle, or something that whatever I sold, because that was the heartbreak of RA and wholesale, is that you get something really going, and I learned about optimizing, and then other people jump in their listing and take your price down, and it doesn't make sense anymore. So I started doing the private label, and I went on Alibaba. I went back and I looked on other websites. So I made sure that I wasn't using an agent. I made sure I was dealing with the manufacturer, which I think is a key point. The manufacturer.
How were you able to determine that? So what she just said is she made sure she was dealing direct with the manufacturer and not an agent, because that, we all know every time you add in a middleman, not only you pay more, but you also have your message diminished.
Communication issues and all that kind of stuff. It's like telephone, right? So I went and I looked, they were on Alibaba in their own little world. And then I went and looked at the website that they referred me to. And then I backed through the website, and all they made was the same thing. So if it weren't, I think it was so deep and so detailed and so widespread that I was like, my belief is there's no way that an agent could have dummied this up or mocked it up. So, and they did say that this is our business, and I was able to, by the time I went back and forth with them in shipping, I was shipping to their business name. So it was very solid. The issue was for me, so first I was dealing with someone, she was great, and I said, I want to do 500 units. I don't want to do 2,000 units or 4,000 units. I just want to do 500 units, prove this out. It was a component, the other parts were coming from the United States. I said, just want to do that. So they made the first one for me. And what was hysterical about that is when I sent them the sample of the one that I had, and I wanted them to modify this and do that and change it around, it got damaged in shipping, and they actually replicated the damage. So it had a big dent in the side, and they made it with a big dent in the side. And I was like, but I drew you a picture.
Oh no.
I was like, but there was a picture and everything. And then they said, when they sent the sample back to me, it was dented. They said, but we sent you a picture. I'm like, you took it in a dark room. It was like it couldn't have been a worse picture. It was like you used an Instamatic or something. It was horrible. For those of you who don't know what that was, that's a camera that existed before iPhones. So then we went back 2 more times, and each time they failed in making the sample the right way. Meanwhile, the woman I'm dealing with left, and now I'm dealing with the owner of the company, and he said, well, we've done enough samples. Now, keep in mind, I'm paying $300 each time for these samples. And he's like, we've done enough samples. And I said, no, before I commit to buying 500 units that I could possibly throw out, I want to make sure that it's right. And he goes, well, it's going to be 2,000 units. And I'm like, then I said, I want to do 2,000 units. We already agreed to 500 units. He goes, well, she's not here anymore. I'm like, and I got very disgusted and said, I'm going to put this on the shelf for a while. The funny thing is, for that component, I went to a trade show, and one of my vendors, I stopped dead in my tracks. They had, it's a container, and they had all like straw and basket type containers, but the one I wanted was metal, and they had it. And I said, I'll be back tomorrow with my dented sample so you can look at it. And can you make this without the dent? And he said, absolutely. And I think when I was dealing with a company that was directly in China, they were going to charge me, like, say, $1 FOB China. So then I still had to figure out freight forwarding. I still had to get insurance. I still had to do the importing. And then my contact at the trade show was $1.25. I was like, I think I'm going with you because you're going to handle all that nonsense. You're going to deal with China. You speak Chinese because you are Chinese, and you're going to be able to do all that properly. So that was a huge win for me there. So that's the happy ending, and that should be arriving in the next 10 to 15 days. So then we'll start building that. But in the meantime, the dog's coming to visit now. Nobody's here the whole time. My son should be here soon, possibly my daughter. Then the other thing that I did is, so a lot of people go to China for the whole thing, and I was concerned that if I did that if I made the product and had it all done there, that 10 minutes later they'd be selling it to somebody else. I'd see it, I'd go back on Alibaba and I'd see some generic version of it that anybody else could buy, and in 15 seconds, all my IP would be gone. And that's why I have been only doing a component. So I started thinking, like, I also don't want to spend a lot of money making a private label product that doesn't work. I want to be able to test it. So I don't want to spend $2,000, $10,000 on courses and all that kind of stuff. And one of the products, and I kept thinking, what can I do? What can I do? And I kept thinking, there's got to be somebody in the United States can do this, because I ended up thinking I wanted to do a topical, and I didn't want it to be made in another country where I couldn't speak to what it was. It was my name. So I was selling a bundled product that was really annoying me, because every time I tried to improve the listing, every time I tried to improve the packaging, every time I tried to improve the value to the customer, the other sellers would rip it apart. And it's like, you read the feedback and like, I got it in a brown box. I got it in a special gift bag. I got it, all like it's spread it was horrible. I kept thinking to myself, boy, it's such a bad, such a bad experience. I could make it a great experience if I could just private label it. And I actually called the company and said, do you ever do anything custom? And they said, as a matter of fact, that's an entire line for us. We do it for hotels, we do it for trade shows, and that was my private label was born. And I said, all right, all the stuff that I hate about this bundle, I'm going to reverse engineer it. The bundle was actually more pieces, so I actually made the pieces smaller. I designed the packaging. I have a secret weapon. My husband's a graphic designer, so he was able to do all the labeling and everything. So that was a big win. I didn't have to go out, and that's another issue, right? To have to design stuff. And anyway, long story short, or long story a little less long, that sold a couple thousand units over Christmas. It's a gift item, so and we're at 6 or 7 versions of it, different themes and different orientations of it, and it's been really successful, and I'm really happy with it. And my biggest issue was I wish I had ordered more for Christmas. And the other thing is I over-designed it. So I made a component in it to keep it very differentiated of my brand name, a special ribbon with our name printed on it that I ran out of. That was totally unnecessary. That took 4 weeks to come back in, which was ridiculous. Mm-hmm. So, and I was afraid to go out and use like a generic piece of the packaging because someone might complain. And I just sat there like, oh my God, I could be selling this if I just had 300 feet of ribbon.
So I love how you tried the Alibaba route, and then you were able to find somebody at a trade show that was able to bring that stuff in for you from China. And then you also did kind of the hotel option, the white label is kind of the term people use, and that's another really good way to go. And you don't always have to order as much, and it's a lot lower risk. So China can be great, but it's very frustrating to work with them sometimes. So I share your pain on that, and I think that was a really neat process you went through. So can you tell us well, I guess you already said your big mistake was that you kind of overdid the packaging, and it was hard to replenish just the packaging. So you were stuck because
there's
of
just so
that.
many components. There was the product, the
Right.
packaging, the box, the cover, the ribbon, the label. And I was like, I really didn't need to do that with the label. I could have, you know, just took a generic label and ordered so many I would never run out. Whereas with the ribbon, you know, and the ribbon was hard to apply, and it was just a mess. So it was, you know,
so
good.
keep it the old KISS, right? Keep it simple, stupid if you can. So what was one of your big like victories that you're proud of?
Well, I think what I'm proud of most in that whole thing was my powers of observancy. Is that a word? Where I'm looking at it, I kept thinking like,
I don't think so.
I was like, this is so bad. Like, why is this so bad? And why am I fighting with these other sellers? And should I abandon this? Oh, it sells well, but it should sell so much better. It's just such a mess. And then thinking like, ding, ding, ding. Yeah, it's a mess, and you can unmess it, and you can lever off, you know, and the relative success of this, and pull it into your own product. And our product, which has, you know, it's optimized, has great pictures, the whole bit, but it's like McDonald's, right? You know, you may not want a McDonald's hamburger, but you know what it's going to be everywhere you go, and it's going to be consistent, and it's going to have the same quality, but it's going to have the same features every single time. Where I think that a lot of the problem with this other product is you could have ordered it from me, and I had had a special box made to hold it, because it was easier for my guys to put the bundle together, where somebody like, oh, that's great. And the next time they order from somebody else, because they're 25 cents cheaper, you get it in a brown box all jumbled up together, you know, and it's just a horrible thing. So I think one of my things I'm proud of is that I was able to ferret out the wheat from the chaff on how to improve it.
All right, great. And then what are your future plans for private label?
Well, when that thing comes in from China finally, we'll be able to put that one together. And really, I had a moment the other night. I looked at my products, and I used to have 8,000 RA items in my listings. And I actually thought I was 600 at this point. I was like, oh, 600, that's really good. I looked a little closer, and actually 300 of those are in some sort of inactive state, whether I have to get deleted or whatever. So I have 300 products, 20 brands. And I think 2 years ago, that would have freaked me out. I was like, I only have 20 brands. Oh my God, I only have 3. And I'm like, I'm just getting more and more into optimize. So my private label, I'll keep doing more and more private label. I'll keep doing more and more customs and exclusives, and just keep trying to, you know, carve out that ground where nobody else is in. Because once you're away from that fight, you know, like I think Jaya said it about RA, it's you're fighting all the time. You're fighting to find new product. You're fighting to keep step. Once you're away from the fight, you are in a different fight, because now you're competing against like products, but you can focus on that product, get it really fine tuned, and not have to fight someone fighting at your heels on that specific product.
Right.
You know, you have other things, but it's just such a nice place to be, is that you're building something that, you know, I could probably sell some of these products to the real world. In fact, I have done that, but probably need like have to clone myself. But you know, because you can go out into the real world and sell these products, which you can never do in RA. You just have stuff.
Right. Awesome, Barbara. Thank you so much for being on our show. Again, Barbara has been a regular contributor to Scanner Monkey Television. And you can find Barbara Boschen in Scanner Monkey. You can also find her. She also runs a software company, because she has a lot of spare time on her hands, where she helps people list products on Jet called Co-Merchant. So she can be found there. All right. Thank you, Barbara. Have a great night. All right, we've got one more in our speed dating round tonight. My final date for the night is Karen. Karen, are you there? There she is. All right. Phew. You're our last but not least guest. Thank you so much for coming on.
You're welcome.
Karen is also a regular contributor to Scanner Monkey TV and Scanner Monkey. Okay, so let's dig right in. Can you tell us a little bit about your online selling history?
I've been selling on Amazon for 8 years, and I started with selling my own Beanie Baby collection, and then got into toys, was very successful the first year in toys. In 6 weeks, I'd sold $60,000 worth. Around Christmas, it was just happened to be a phenomenal year of toys. Got into doing bundles a lot at that time too. And then I decided to, I was buying, so everything was scanning. Well, we know you didn't scan back then. You looked up, you came back to, you know, you either had a friend look up the UPC code on, or you took it home and and checked it out. And I was looking for a lamp for home, and somebody had suggested Family Dollar, so I thought, okay, I'll pop in there. And I found a nice wicker lamp, and anything you ever bought then is like, what's it selling for on Amazon? And I was for $10, and then it was selling for 48, similar ones. So I was going around all the Family Dollars, which isn't the safest thing to do. Some of those areas are a little creepy. And so I was really doing well. And then they stopped making that design. So I thought, well, how hard would it be? You know, we could, you know, so with a friend of mine, I said, let's try this. Let's try and order it from China. This is before any courses were out there, you know, this is like 7 years ago. And I don't even think the Amazing Selling Machine was out there then. And so we did it, and it was a long-winded process. And you have to have very strict instructions as to what you want. And it can be a little scary because they ask you what you want to put on your label. And this was an electrical product, and you're thinking, just put anything on it. So it's made me wary, of buying, you know, the things that myself. But
you look at like other
Pardon?
Did you look at other packages to see what the wording was on the other packages?
Yes, and they had been supplying people, you know, they're the people who were supplying America. I mean, Family Dollar were getting them from China, you know, everything was made in China. And so, you know, they know what they're doing, you know, they knew what they were doing and that. But yeah, that went well, but I didn't like it. It was wicker, and I was buying it from Family Dollar store at $10, selling it for 48, and then in the period of time it took to get to us, it had gone down to 38. So it still would be a good thing, but when you're not doing the quantity that Family Dollar stores are doing, by the time it landed, it was $20 our cost. You know, now maybe if we'd ordered container-fulls, but we weren't ready to do that many, you know, to start with. So even though you see things cheap, and even I've noticed at Walgreens, there's a whole load of things at Walgreens, and I'd say to people, be careful, because more and more of these companies are coming out with things that you're seeing private label sellers selling on Amazon. And so you don't want to be selling, you know, these flasks and things at Walgreens that you see on Alibaba and that. So it's like, and they can do the quantities more than you. So make sure you've got something that's not in competition with local stores that are a lot cheaper. So yeah, so we stopped it. It cost a lot more to get in. Some of them were a little damaged by the time they arrived, and it didn't go as quick as we'd wanted.
How many units did you order?
600.
Okay.
It wasn't a lot, you know. Well, that's each. We had 300 of each design. We had 2 designs, so we had 300 of each, friend and I. And the sizing was oversized, so we could, you know, it's that.
You learned a lot.
I learned a lot from it. Yeah.
So how did you pay for that first private label with your Beanie Baby and toy money?
Yeah, I've always been profitable since I started, because I had my Beanie money, and then with the toy things, that was, you know, I've always been able to pay off debt as I've gone along, and then put some back into my business. So I've had a plan. This is how much I will spend, and I don't spend unless I've got it, you know. And so then I'm trying to think of what.
So now you kept going. You've done. Karen and I are friends. I've heard her story. So she's done various products over the years, but now you're developing a line of products. And what I love about them is, besides many things I love about them, but they're very small.
Yeah.
And that Danilio was pointing to that too. And that's definitely been a challenge for me, is the product I picked is really big and heavy. But so you have this whole line of stuff, and I love how, you know, a lot of times we hear these huge numbers, like, oh, you have to order 2,000 and you have to do it the first time and sell 8,500 units a day. And that's great. But can you tell us a little bit about kind of the success of your latest line of products?
Okay. After, you'd think I'd learn, you know, from the lampshades being quite big, but I did actually do another large product that was a fruit basket, and I loved it. Really nice quality in that. But that ended up, by the time it came, I have not had success with freight shipments. And so I would be careful if somebody's going to do freight shipments, have a plan way ahead of time as to who you're going to use and how you're going to use it. I had the fruit basket was only $4, but I used, they gave me a charge to get it to the USA. So I thought, great, you know, it's not going to cost that much in the USA. But it ended up that they got it to LA, and I'd chosen a prep company in Prime Zero, they're in like Boston or somewhere. So then I had to get it from LA to Boston, and then at Boston I had to find a different company to clear it through customs. Then they had to get it delivered to Prime Zero Prep, who then got it to Amazon. It was 4 months from when I sent my money to when I actually received the product. And every time they changed from one shipping company to another, they cleaned the container. I got these cleaning fees and that. They must hose it down or something. I mean, it's like there's a whole list of all these fees that they charge you, you know. So after that, I talked with the person who ended up clearing it through customs for me. Flexport, that I've heard good things about, that Jaya mentioned, they weren't taking on new customers at that time. So, but Worldwide Express, they actually have offices in China, and they will actually arrange to pick it up from your supplier and then handle it all the way to wherever you want it going. So I would try and simplify this shipping if I was going to do it. But I really, you know, after that, it's Amazon's fees went sky high on oversized products. So what was costing me a $4 fruit basket, but Amazon's fees ended up, and they were selling for like $30. So it sounds really good, but then Amazon's fees were $14.65 because it was oversized, and the storage was 70 cents a month on that. They must have. I mean, when I store it at home, I put it inside one another, but Amazon must have it. You know, you know, they doing it like you could. So it was really that was really costly. So that really. I don't think all of my friends have had fruit baskets as gifts.
That's really nice. They are really nice. I will say that.
And then having that for humanity had
one of your products is even so small, you've done the small and light program. So
I love the small and light program. Yeah.
So Karen, sorry to cut you off. We need to move on to some more questions because we're doing the speed dating show tonight. So can you let's see here. What is one thing that you wish you had known when you first started?
Let me see. Packaging. I wish I had done some professional packaging sooner. I thought it would cost a lot of money, and ends up one of my products, it costs 14 cents. And that's for the cardboard and for the blister pack and for them all to prepare it. And I have my GS1 barcode on the back. And so I like that. It also gives me the feeling that if anything ever happened I could actually go to a retail store and sell it, you know, to them. And I found what I did was I went to local stores and found products similar to mine and had a look, and I bought all these different products to see what the packaging, what I wanted it like. And then blister packs are very effective ways to package and get it into Amazon. And I wanted one that if a customer should open it up, it's not glued to it. So, you know, so that it you know, you can resell it if it was returned. So I wish I'd have done the packaging a little bit sooner. But I think if you learned everything you needed to learn before you started, you'd never get started. There is so much to learn, so much.
What was the big, so it sounds like we talked a little bit about some of your mistakes with not understanding the oversized and the storage fees. And so thinking the oversized, I think it's like 8 by 10 by 14. I have to look at our 8 by 14 by 18 is the oversized dimension. So you definitely want to try to always keep your packaging.
Mine were underneath, but for some reason they still, you know.
And you can actually have them, if you measure it and verify and make sure you have a little, have them do the cubic scan. Yeah. So what are your future?
They changed their fees during that time that it came, you know. Right. It like all of a sudden jumped, you know.
Okay.
They didn't used to be as big, the oversized, but at that time when I did it, it's like they more than doubled for the dimensions. Right. So
yeah, their warehouses have been filling up, and they're charging us more to use them.
Yeah.
So what are your, well, we have a question from Wendy. How did you decide on the items that worked for you? Did you just like it, or how did you do your research?
Well, it was by accident. I'm in the travel. I have travel products and that, and I was looking. I was very interested in the product and in the safety and security and everything else. And then one of my customers made a request for an accessory in that, and so I decided from, you know, their request, I was asking people, you know, as to, you know, what do you think? Should I get this? Well, it ended up I could get this item for 95 cents, and I could order 100. So for $95, a customer was happy. And then the item came in and it sold out. And then I got another 100 in, it sold out. I sent it to England, it sold out. And it's a tiny item. And so I hadn't intended to be selling that product. And it's just an accessory, but it ended up being, you know, really good seller. One thing that I would do now, and then have another product that's a really good seller, that's also small. And what I've just done is introduced like 6 more colors for each of those. And I wish I'd have done more colors sooner. And so now I'm getting people, because the small products, and they're also inexpensive products. So one advantage is when any course that I hear, I've gone against all the rules. Everyone else, yeah, sell at least this, sell at least, you know, you want, and it's nice to have a high ASP, average selling price, but it's also quite nice when you can just order, you know, like if I've got 6 variations and it's costing me $1 package, that, you know, for each variation, it's really simple to be able to just keep ordering and I can do it by air. It's inexpensive. Yeah.
Okay, great. So what are your future plans?
Future plans, I love working with people, you know, and so I have a couple of friends who are artists. One makes some earrings for me, and the other one, I just love her designs. I love her colors. She loves color. And so I decided I'd like to work with people more. That's, you know, and so I'm looking at products that I always like to have useful products. I've never been one for like just ornaments or things like that, you know. So I'm looking for products that I can put her artwork on, and then possibly some other friends, and then we just come to an agreement with what, you know, what she has. And if they've got a social media outlet, then all the better, because I don't like the social media part. I'm still not got the hang of Pinterest, and I look at my board and I'm thinking, well, where the heck have those come from? I mean, I don't even recognize my own boards. It's like, so it's just, so I like to work with somebody who's already got a social media thing. And we just had one of our products just came in. It was like, I think it arrived last week, and she took some with her and she put them on her website, and they sold straight away. She didn't take very many, but they sold. So she was all excited, and so I'm thinking of different things that I can make with her artwork on it. And so I like to enjoy it. You know, you can sell anything and make money, but I really want to enjoy the process. And if it helps other ones, and it ends up that this Macy's said at one time was going to hire her to do some artwork and that, but then with all their financial problems, it didn't fall through. But she was ever so pleased, because she says to me, "You were the first one to believe in me," you know. Aww. And so it was. It's really nice, and these other people who are looking at her work, and I'm thinking, well, I want to get a work on things, because it's a distinct, you know. So. And one thing that I did learn with thinking about it with the packaging thing was, if you haven't got enough money to invest in a heck of a lot of product, and packaging, it can be costly. I've got it but it's only like one product. It's only 14 cents for the card, the blister pack, and everything. Another one's 21 cents. That is nothing. I mean, you can't even get a colour photocopy of something here for, you know, a quarter. And this is the whole thing all assembled, you know, with it. But if you're short on money, you don't want to have too much product, you can ask to have them make 5,000 packages, but only do, you know, like 1,000 products. And your manufacturer will find, ask the manufacturer to find the packaging. I tried once to have it made here, and I was contacting box companies and that. But in China, they'll often go to Hong Kong and have packaging companies do the mold and that. It was $60 to have the mold done for the blister packet around the. And so I had 5,000 of the packaging done, and then I just had 1,000 of the product made. And then every time I want 1,000, they've already got, you know, some more packaging there to use. So it saves you a little money.
That's a great tip. Go ahead and buy. You don't have to order the same number of packaging as product. You can order more packaging. They'll hold it for you, you know, for a while and keep it. So. Oh
yeah, they're very happy to work with you. And I do suggest communicating via Skype rather than email. You have a record of it on your Skype window. You can send pictures. You can send, and the communication goes a lot better than when you do it just by email. Always get samples. And I had one of my products, and it looked great, and I've seen similar ones up on Amazon and that. But then when I actually came to use it and that, it was too small to use it for what I wanted to use it. So I said, no, I need this 1/4 of an inch wider, you know. But I made sure that I got more samples of it, you know, and I had different features added to mine. So you just need to have the samples made. Yeah. There was a case where that person had sent a mug, and these cups that you have where you put the hot liquid in, and it changes. It'll look like a pattern of one thing, and then you put hot liquid in and it changes. So they send a picture, you know, the before picture and the after picture, you know, and The mug came in like 1,000 of them, and it was the PDF of what they wanted before and after on the mug. You understand what I mean? It wasn't that you put the hot liquid in, they put the JPEG on the mug before, after. It's like, oh my goodness, somebody obviously didn't have samples done.
Yeah, I think samples, and I know for my product, I'm going to be probably hiring an on-the-ground inspector next time to go and actually inspect the shipment before it ships. So that's another thing you can do to verify that it is exactly the way it's supposed to be, and that every, if you have 1,000 units, that all of them comply. So, all right, Karen, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you for sharing with everybody. And thank you to everybody for tuning in. That was awesome. We had a great crowd and awesome guests. We do this every Thursday at 9 p.m. We have an amazing lineup in the next month. Check our Facebook page, Scanner Monkey. If you want to just stay up to date on the shows, even if you're not a member, you can see every new show on there. And just one more plug for the group. Please join. It's only $20 a month. ScannerMonkey.com. Almost all the members, all the guests tonight are members, except for one who we're going to try to convince to join. And it's just an amazing community of all different kinds of sellers, and our primary goal is to just help each other. So we have a lot of benefits. You get a lot of value, but our core kind of ethic is just to help each other. So please feel free to reach out to me on Facebook or email Cordelia@scannermonkey.com if you have any questions. And thank you everybody for tuning in live. Thank you everybody who is watching the recording. And tune in Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Seattle. And thank you to all our amazing guests tonight. I learned so much. I'm a little bit like, woo, I feel like I got hit by a tidal wave of awesomeness. So we'll see you guys all again really soon. Have a great week.